All right. So what do you guys want first? The good news or the bad news? We'll start with the good news because it's short and sweet, and that's Jason Spezza is back for one season at league minimum, which is now $750,000. Just something for people who don't know and would like to know, you can just Google NHL CBA PDF, and you can get an entire PDF of the collective bargaining agreement, and then you can just use Control F on your keyboard, and you can search for key terms and find a lot of information like this. But for someone who is 37 years old all of last season and who played a very defined role, Jason Spezza was real good for the team. Again, for the defined role that he played, he was able to be a positive contributor offensively on the power play, take faceoffs on the penalty kill, and not be a liability defensively as well. Only playing about 11 minutes a night, finding those offensive opportunities, he put up 30 points in 54 games. It's just, you couldn't possibly ask for more from this player. And he's still able to win faceoffs at an exceptional margin that just makes him so versatile. You can put him out there on the penalty kill, win the draw, get off. You can put him out there in a defensive situation, win the draw, get off. But you can trust him in an offensive role to put him out there to win the draw in a key moment. And that frees up a guy like Tavares or Matthews, and you can then put them in a shooting opportunity afterwards. Jason Spezza makes everyone else on the ice so much better. He brings a lot of versatility, and it's just, thank you for coming back. And because Spezza was so good in such little ice time, so many people wanted to see his role with the team increase. But I think he's perfect in the role that he was in last season. Literally don't change anything. Don't change nothing. Use him the exact same way that you used him last season. Go find other players to fill the gaps in this lineup. I don't think re-signing Jason Spezza affects the expansion draft in any way, because he's shown this past season he's not playing anywhere other than Toronto. They placed him on waivers earlier in the season, and his agent said he'll retire if anyone claims him. The Seattle selects him. He's just not going to report, so they're just not going to pick him. They're not going to waste a pick like that when they could take somebody else. And if that's the reality of the situation, I don't see why the Leafs wouldn't take advantage of that and protect another player. Because again, he's just not going to report. So it's not that I don't think that he will be on their protection list. It's just, I think they take advantage of the situation. And the reality is that Spezza wants to be in Toronto and he'll just retire if he can't. But we'll talk more about the expansion draft in its own video. If reading this quote from Spezza here doesn't warm your heart, you might be dead, so you might want to check that. And he's just been such a model to what fans here in Toronto want to cheer for. He loves the game, he loves the team, he loves the city. And for that, Jason, we love you back. So, thank you. I guess now on to the sad news, and that's about Zach Hyman. Chris Johnston on the latest edition of the Leaf Report with James Mirtle and Jonas Siegel said, I really believe that it is highly unlikely that we'll see Zach Hyman back with the Leafs. And I want to take some time in this video to right a wrong. I released a video like a week or a week and a half ago talking about if the Maple Leafs could afford Zach Hyman. It's like, yeah, they can. They could pay him $5 million. You can stick him on this roster here. You can get a backup goalie, and you can get somebody else on the team, and maybe have a little bit of money left over. Yeah, it works. But I don't think I did enough due diligence in that video to talk about the implications that would come with giving him a contract of that size. And this is with having Kerfoot here still. This is with having Justin Hall here still. You could lose one of them to Seattle, and you could trade the other. So even with these two players here, and assuming guys like Timothy Liljegren and Nick Robertson play a role on the Leafs next season, you could have $10 million. So like I said, yeah, you could throw Zach Hyman making $5 million here, but is it responsible? Can you make that decision responsibly and be satisfied with that contract? And I think the reason why I chose to ignore that or didn't cover it is because my reaction was reactionary. Because you watch the team and you clearly see what's wrong with it, and Zach Hyman is everything that is right with it for such little that is right with the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. To even here suggest that he would be the one leaving or walking away from the team or not coming back, however way you want to frame it, that hurts. In terms of expected goals above replacement last season, he's their fourth most valuable forward. What do you want me to say? The last 2.5 years for Zach Hyman have been absolutely incredible to the point where he's priced himself out of being a Toronto Maple Leaf right now. And like I said, he doesn't deserve to be the one to go. But I think we need to face a reality here. It literally does not matter Zach Hyman or no Zach Hyman, it does not matter if guys like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner are not going to produce in the playoffs. It does not matter who you have behind those guys if they're not going to produce. It does not matter. And the implications of re-signing Zach Hyman are really simple. We can walk by it year by year. Let's say you give him a 3-year contract. That would mean that he would expire in the same offseason as Matthews and Nylander. He's 29 years old right now. 3-year deal takes him till he's about 32, 33 years old. And it's like, okay, fine. I can still believe that he'll be worth, maybe even $5 or $5.5 million for the next 3 seasons. Maybe not so much in that third, but it's okay because only 3 years doesn't really affect you in re-signing any big players and stuff like that. And Zach Hyman's a good player. Still a lot of money, but he's still a good player. Okay, maybe a 3-year deal is not too realistic. Maybe you sign him to a 4-year deal. And that would mean that his contract expires the same offseason as Tavares and Marner. But you'd have to negotiate with Matthews and Nylander if you decide to keep them. I don't know what happens between now and then. But it's just, you're looking at it now. That would affect that. That would affect re-signing those 2 players. Can Zach Hyman still be effective and valuable at 33 or 34 years old? I don't know. He plays the game really hard. Like I said, he's had a couple of different knee injuries. I don't know. Can he be a Patrick Hornqvist? Can he still be that feisty, effective player who plays the game really hard at 34 or 35 years old? Not too many guys in the league can. But maybe someone comes along and offers him a 5-year deal. And it's just like, I don't know, he'll be 34 or 35 by the time that ends. It's like, do you want to take a look at the list of NHLers who are 35 years and older this year? Here's a list of forwards in the NHL who are turning 33 or who are older that make between $5 and $6 million a season. There are good players on this list, but at the same time, $5 or $6 million is a lot of money in the NHL. And when you're looking at all the players on this list, the vast majority of them are not worth what they're still making. And that's of no disrespect to those players. They're still valuable to their teams in some way, I'm sure. But I don't know if they're still providing $5 or $6 million worth of value. And if there's some comfort to be had is that I think that this offseason is going to be a lot like last offseason, and where you're going to see a lot of valued contracts. Guys like Tyler Toffoli, Mike Hoffman on a 1-year deal, Mikael Granlund on a 1-year deal, guys like Craig Smith, if we scroll a little bit further down, Alexander Wenberg, Jesper Fast, Anthony Duclair. If you scroll even further down, a guy like Andreas Athanasiou, Alex Galchenyuk can come back, Carter Verhaeghe, Nikita Gusev after he got bought out, provided some value to the Florida Panthers. There's going to be guys available on the trade market who normally wouldn't be because of the financial situations teams are finding themselves in. The slew of guys who just didn't get a qualifying offer because teams couldn't afford it. There's going to be a lot of those guys again available this year. And if you lose one of Kerfoot or Justin Hall and maybe you trade the other one, that's $15.5 million in cap space. If you're not bringing back Zach Hyman, you can do a lot with $15.5 million. Especially with the guys, like I said, who are going to be available to you on 1 or 2-year deals. And I guess that kind of leads me into my next video here, looking at unrestricted free agent forwards. So expect that video Saturday, I guess. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Make sure to like the video if you did like it and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And guys, remember, sometimes it hurts. Zach Hyman definitely doesn't deserve to be the guy who doesn't come back after a season like the Leafs just had. But at the same time, I'm going to be here and we're going to talk about it no matter what happens.